Hello again, it's Bill Bowers. Welcome to this unit on Interview a Customer COO, where we want to explore priorities and challenges of the Chief Operating Officer. I have the pleasure to talk today to Tony Pagliarulo. Tony was an executive at EMC for 13 years, where he held a number of key leadership roles, including the Chief Operating Officer for EMC's global IT organization. He was responsible for the organization's day-to-day operations and to the end-to-end design, implementation, and support of EMC's entire portfolio of IT business applications and technology services. Welcome, Tony. It is a pleasure to have you with us today.
No, it's a pleasure to be here as well. Thank you.
Can you start by giving us a short overview of the companies you've worked for as in the role of COO, their sizes, their sector, and focus activities?
Most recently, I've been with EMC as Senior Vice President and IT Chief Operating Officer. EMC is a $22 billion global company focused on storage, software, hardware, and solutions. My scope of responsibility included a large number of operations. I had about 2,600 folks working for me. Operating budget was excess of $450 million. I was accountable for end-to-end service delivery across IT, a large part of customer operations, and support.
Great. Could you tell us about your primary areas of responsibilities as COO and how you were measured by the board in these particular companies?
Sure. My responsibilities include a large part of operations, including IT, including customer operations, and remote support functions. I was measured by the senior management and the board on across a number of dimensions, including cost, including margin contribution, and as well as a number of other key benchmarks and metrics.
What are the keys that CEOs are facing today, and what's really high on their radar screen?
The number one challenge I faced, and as I talk to peers, they face as well as the pace of change. Things are changing at such a dramatic pace. It's very difficult to keep up, and it's really hard to stay ahead. And there's just so many missed opportunities, and there's the risk of disruption and disintermediation that really keeps me and many of my peers up at night.
Interesting. So what perception does a COO have of SAP? Would you say that COOs consider SAP a transformation and an innovation partner today?
I wouldn't say that SAP has gotten there yet in terms of being viewed as a true transformation innovation partner. I think SAP, the vision and the strategy makes sense to me. It makes sense to, again, I'll keep referring to people I talk to as I get out there in the industry. For the last year or so, I've been a consultant, I've been an advisor on the Independent Executive Advisory Council. And what I'm hearing is, yeah, we like the things SAP is doing. SAP is making it easy to do business with them. They're introducing new technologies. They're improving the user experience. So making progress, but I don't think has achieved the status of trusted innovation partner. Not yet.
Great. Thank you for that perspective, Tony. In this course, we are interested in providing as many insights for our salespeople as possible to improve the quality of their C-level executive interactions. We would like to hear from you your insights about how salespeople could improve their interaction with COOs. As a former CEO, what would you have liked to have heard from SAP salespeople when they entered your office?
Sure. What I expect from an SAP sales representative or an SAP account executive is, number one, that they understand my business. And as a publicly traded company, there's lots of information out there. So they should understand the industry I'm in. They should understand the challenges I'm facing from a macroeconomic perspective, from a geopolitical perspective, and then they should have intimate knowledge of my operation and of my business. And I expect them to come in and be empathetic and understand what my challenges are, number one. I'd say because it's very difficult to get an audience with myself or other senior vice presidents, COOs. Very challenging. If you get that audience, come in and elevate the conversation.
Okay, good. What would have motivated you to give them more of your time and ultimately funding of their project?
If we start talking about feeds and speeds and integration and techno jargon, I'm not interested in that. SAP's roadmap is intriguing, but only in the context of how it can help me solve my problems. So I want someone that comes in and that's really focused on the longer view. So I understand my company strategy, goals and objectives, and talk to me about what you can do to help me advance those without a conversation about licensing or products or technology. Let's focus on how you can help me, and where you're willing to invest to help me.
So what topics would you recommend that an SAP salesperson be prepared to discuss when they meet with COOs?
Again, I think starting at the top, demonstrating that they understand the industry, they understand, my organization, and then if they possibly could bring to bear, a specific use case or some examples that say, hey, that demonstrate that they really get it. Dig in, do your homework before they get to me. First of all, in theory, to even get to me, they would have been sponsored by someone. Maybe the CIO, maybe a line of business exec, maybe there's some other relationship to broker the meeting.
So a little bit more detailed. How would you recommend they position SAP's Run Simple message with the COO?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the message. It's intriguing. I have to say that complexity has been a topic on my agenda and has been on the agenda of the board and senior executives for several years. And complexity, grows over time. And I use the analogy of the ball of yarn. It just keeps winding and winding and winding. It's very difficult to unwind. So you've got complexity with business process, you've got complexity with technology. And that complexity is a huge millstone around the neck of many organizations. It's difficult to be flexible and innovative with all that complexity. It drives cost as well. It drives a fragmented experience for our customers. So complexity is absolutely the enemy. It's front of mind. So the Run Simple message is appealing. The question is, how do you get there?
So what about simplification as an overall topic?
So when I think about Run Simple, what are the target areas? So if it's a new prospect, maybe it's a different set of conversations. If it's an existing client like we are, we've got, understand what the challenges are. Maybe there's challenges around the financial close process. So simple finance could be intriguing there. Are there ways to improve our cash flow, reduce receivables, close the books faster? Measurable ways where the Run Simple solution can really save. And I think the other thing I'm seeing is back to the complexity. The complexity is a legacy of process, a legacy of systems. Can we rationalize business processes and rationalize our technology infrastructure as part of this journey to simplifying?
Is the ability to react to the changing environment an important topic for COOs today?
Being agile and having the ability to make changes on the fly and react to the market is critical. And that's either reacting to changing customer demands or changes that are resulting in regulatory rules or some geopolitical change. So having that flex, and I think simple is tied to that. So if you've got a simplified business process model and a simplified architecture, it enables you to react to that much quicker.
Is cloud an important topic for a CEO agenda? And if so, in what sense?
There's been a big buzz about the cloud for 5 to maybe 8 years or longer. As a CEO, I see it as an enabler. Certainly, it's interesting, but it's really the question is, hey, how does it help us move the needle? How does it help us, improve our business operation, reduce our costs? And that's what it's all about. It's about the bottom line. So as an enabler, sure. I mean, I think we should have a cloud strategy. A cloud strategy is important. I think the other thing to think about is security and compliance. And as I think about the cloud, I think about, hey, is our data, is our information, is our business process secure if we put it in the cloud? That's key.
So what do you think some of the usual hurdles are that SAP salespeople face when engaging with COOs?
So there's lots of pre-work that has to get done, as I said before. Typically, you need to get sponsored in at some level. And it's either another executive or someone who works in the chain of command for the COO. So I think that's the key. And, and really to work, get in the account, work it, understand what the pain points are, build those relationships at the, middle manager level, maybe the director VP level, and that will, buy you a ticket to a meeting with the COO. That's key.
So how should they try to convince the COOs of the value of the SAP proposal?
To me, the key is, can they demonstrate a specific scenario where SAP will add value, and is it measurable? So that to me is okay, what's the value proposition? It's an investment decision. Are we willing to, there's lots of, there are a lot of initiatives competing for investment dollars, whether it's R&D portfolio or some capital expansion. So SAP is, an SAP investment or any technology investment is on that list. And typically, demand outstrips supply. So what's the compelling case that SAP can make?
So what particular insights and proof points should they use?
So this new way of implementing SAP, right? The new technology, how does it allow for that? The simplification message. So who else has done this? Are there peers, even if you can't share a specific name, who in my industry or what other companies of comparable scale and scope have successfully implemented SAP to solve a specific business problem? So I think those wins are important.
So what suggestions would you provide to SAP sales professionals to drive a credible conversation with a COO?
So, those meetings where the sales representative demonstrates right out of the bat, first of all, he makes contact. He engages on a personal level. I think that's important too, And some CEOs like to do warm-up, some don't. Some are just all business. But, try to find some common ground initially. And then, make it, again, keep it a conversation. Demonstrate that you understand my business. You've got, empathy for what my challenges are. Demonstrate that you understand your business as well. Know what you're bringing to bear and how it fits together. And keep it, and we talk about simple. Keep the message simple. So those are the meetings where, none of us want to be sold. We want to buy. People like to buy, but that hard sell. So demonstrate that you're willing to partner with me and be in it for the long haul. It's not a transaction-based conversation. Are you willing to make the investment in a partnership for the future? And the relationship, establishing that relationship up front is key.
And which pitfalls should they avoid?
We talked earlier about this. Number one, understand the industry, understand the macro factors. As I talked about before. When you come to the session, listen. Number one thing, listen. Don't bring a host of PowerPoints. Come in. I'm not sure if there's any documentation you feel like you need, but I would not come in and do a bunch of presentations. If you get that first, to me, the goal of that meeting. First of all, I assume that you had been sponsored in, so there's an agenda, right, of some sort. But you want to demonstrate that you understand the company, the business, and maybe highlight a few specific areas to talk about, and then listen. See where the COO wants to take the conversation. What is his interest?
Okay, this has been really great. To close, we would like you to look into the future. Do you expect any major evolution in the role of the COOs that our salespeople should be aware of?
I talked earlier about the pace of change. So the role, the role of COO, CFO, CIO, CDO, Chief Data Officer, there's more C-level positions. In some cases, there's new C-level positions. There's consolidation of C-level positions. So I think the roles are changing. And I think that's a reflection of industries and businesses digitizing. So even if you're a classic brick and mortar manufacturer, discrete manufacturer, you better figure out how you digitize and simplify your business process, or you'll be left behind. How you take advantage of these new technologies. So I think that's going to have a material impact on how companies are structured. And that's going to have a material impact on C-level roles, including COO. So digitization, things coming together, where everybody becomes a technologist.
Thank you, Tony, for sharing your insights today. This concludes our interview with Tony Pagliarulo. Please join us for the next unit, where we will dive into business research. And as always, I will see you there, and happy selling. Good day.